But Tim, let's talk a little Packers Bengals. And yeah, so let's just get into the injury report right off the bat here. Rob Domofsky tweeted out, right tackle Zach Tom with the oblique said he was able to exert himself in practice this week and feels good about playing Sunday and also being able to go the distance. Quote, having the confidence that your body's going to hold up is obviously huge. Tim, last week, you remember, or I think I say last week, it was before the bye, right? I think it might have even been before the Dallas game. He goes out there and tries to play. Was it Cleveland he tried to play? Am I thinking right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes out there and
One
he
snap.
didn't do anything all week long. So he, like he had said earlier in the week, he didn't have defensive ends crashing into him. So you didn't really test it until you got there on the field. He got there on the field and was like, I can't do this, right? So this week it sounds like he's gotten a chance to actually test it against the Packers defense, and he feels good. So I think we're good to go on Zach Tom. And I think this is huge news, obviously, man. Rasheed Walker, we'll talk about him here in a second where he sits on the injury report. If you're potentially going out there without both of your tackles, that makes that game a lot more interesting when in terms of, you got a team that you're supposed to boat race. They're 14-point favorites wherever they're at. Obviously, if you're missing the two most important positions on your offensive line, things could get ugly quick. So it's nice to know Zach Tom's back in the fold.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a perfect game to get your legs under you again, or in this case, your obliques under you again out there against that, kind of questionable defensive front. I'm sure we'll get into the breakdown in a few minutes here with Cincinnati, but he's not going to be looking at what he looked at against Cleveland and against the Commanders as well in Detroit in week 1. So I think he's going to have a great opportunity to get back into playing speed and get himself ready to go as we make this push through the season. So excited to have him back. Hopefully, we get some consistent O-line play here at some point of the season as we try to make a playoff push. So glad Zach Tom is back.
It's still wild to think about, too, that they haven't had their starting offensive line healthy all year long through, obviously the first 4 weeks of the season for the Packers, with the fifth week being the bye week. And Jordan's still a top 5 quarterback. It's really, really interesting to think about because you played 3 really good defenses, right? You played, obviously, Detroit week 1, Washington Commanders week 2, and then Cleveland Browns, one of the best defenses in the league, definitely top 5, maybe even top 3. But the fact
we'll always have this moment with Rashawn, right? Well, from the Cleveland game.
Yeah, when he did the meme bug there as we were leading 3-0 against the Browns, I felt pretty good about that game. Of course, wasn't long after that, I was like, oh no, this is going to be one of those nail biters. So you know how that goes most of the time. Now, I thought this was good news. And you can see the grin on Matt LaFleur's face here as Rob Domofsky tweeted out the picture. Packers coach Matt LaFleur on why he called Brandon McManus's injury a major concern yesterday before McManus insisted he would play Sunday. Quote, you're a kicker and your leg's bothering you. That's a problem. So I think it's pretty straightforward, and I imagine it's kind of like I didn't lie to you. I mean, it is a major concern when your kicker's leg is bothering him, right?
But we all know leg, right?
Mm-hmm. And we all know, though, how the Packers use these injury reports, man. Most teams, it seems like they kind of, handle it normally, I guess you could say. But the Packers, they're like, hey, man, listen, if the janitor's, got a hangnail, put him on the injury report, too. Let's just load that thing all the way down, even though, when you look at it, 90% of those players are going to be out there on Sunday. But I think this is great news here. And I think Rob went on to say McManus yesterday, quote, he didn't speak to me about that. So he has his own thesaurus. What is it? Thesaurus encyclopedia to describe injuries. So Matt LaFleur and Brandon McManus didn't talk about what they were going to say, right? Didn't brief each other. Matt LaFleur went out there and basically said our kicker's legs falling off, right? In my best Dumb and Dumber voice.
Just the tip, though.
Our pets' heads are falling off. So he goes that route. And then McManus was like, no, I played with this injury before. I'll be out there. All right, cool. So there you go, man. Really, really interesting how that all unfolded. I think it's safe to say, though, McManus is going to be out there. Now, does that mean you need to march him out there for a 60-yard kick or a 55-yard kick? Absolutely not. If you can have him active in case somehow, some way the game's close, great. And then also the goal should be, let's try not to use him one time other than extra points,
And maybe push that field goal line up a little bit. We know his comfort zone and his capabilities. I mean, I still think McMoney's got the ability to hit from damn near 60 yards if we really need him to in a pinch. But I don't see him having those type of attempts on Sunday. Right? Want to keep him inside 50. Don't have him overdo it. We don't want to make a problem worse by doing too much. So I would agree with that.
Definitely. Respect Orange just said, you sold your dead bird to a blind kid? Let's break out Dumb and Dumber tonight. It's going to happen. Let's go over to the Bengals side of the injury report as Paul Denner Jr. tweeted out, injury updates from Zach Taylor. Jamar Chase will be listed as questionable for Sunday with an illness. Thought that was interesting. Okay. Dylan Fairchild will be questionable, although I think most people think that they're leaning toward him not playing at left guard. Me personally, I kind of hope he does play at left guard because he's been cheeks all year long. And then Shamar Stewart will be doubtful. So obviously Shamar Stewart has had limited snaps. He's grading out pretty decent as a rookie. I want to say around the 68 mark. However, obviously you get minimal snaps. Sometimes those grades can be a little misleading. So if they are missing Shamar Stewart and Jamar Chase, I think he'll play, right? They wouldn't have traded for Joe Flacco if they wasn't somehow, some way trying to salvage their season. So I think he'll play, but it does give me a little bit of, he's dealing with an illness. Maybe he won't be 100%, and that could hurt his productivity,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But they still have T. Higgins, right? They have weapons. But I'm with you, Clay. I think Jamar Chase is going to play. And we all know that questionable is better than doubtful, right? You've got a higher likelihood of being in the lineup. And then illness is such a loose term, right? That could be anything.
Right.
He could have a small cold or stomach bug or anything in between. We don't know, but my money's on him playing on Sunday. I don't think he's going to miss this game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, man. All right, moving along to the injury report in its entirety here. And like I said, it's going to be a long list, but it got a little bit shorter, looks like, from yesterday. So as we dive into it here, let's just hit it. I don't know which one's better. Probably the other one, right? Yeah, we'll keep it zoomed in. So, yeah, here is the Packers injury list. All right. Aaron Banks with the groin/knee. So we got two different injuries there. Limited all week. He's listed as questionable. Rob Domofsky earlier today hinted that he thought Aaron Banks was going to be playing. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. Anthony Belton is officially listed as out with that ankle injury. He did not participate all week long. Kingsley Enagbare was limited with an ankle for the first 2 days and then was full participation today, so he's good to go. Nate Hobbs, questionable with the concussion. He was limited all week long. Tucker Kraft with the elbow, obviously full participation. Jordan Love's good to go. Brandon McManus, limited all week long. I think he did kick today, if I understood correctly. I think I heard Wildy say they typically kick on Wednesdays and Fridays. He didn't kick on Wednesday, but he was going to try to kick today. So he's listed as questionable. I think he'll be good to go out there. And like I said, in some kind of limited fashion. Jacob Monk with the hamstring, limited participation all week long. He's listed as questionable. Jordan Morgan's good to go. Zach Tom is officially listed as questionable. I think he's going to play. Rasheed Walker is the one that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
With the quadricep. Limited, did not participate, then back to limited. Okay, so they've been obviously trying to work through that. It's going to come down to one of two things, Tim. You got to decide which one is more ready to go and less likely to re-injure themselves, Aaron Banks or Rasheed Walker. So if Aaron Banks is a little bit healthier than Rasheed Walker, you put Aaron Banks out there and you kick Jordan Morgan over to left tackle, and we see what we got at Jordan Morgan at left tackle. I got to be real. I'm kind of excited about seeing that. I hope that's the route they go. Or it might be the other way around. Sheed's a little healthier than Aaron Banks, seeing that Aaron's dealing with two different injuries. So maybe they start Rasheed at tackle and then put Jordan Morgan at left guard. Regardless, I'm just excited that Jordan Morgan is most likely going to be playing on the left side. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we said, this O-line, we need all the help we can get. Good to see Jacob Monk, is a little bit healthier, I guess, than he was a few weeks ago. But yeah, I think you're right. I think if Banks gives you a better option to stay healthy, then you try Banks out there and you make your adjustments. If it proves that Rasheed feels like he can go, then I don't know how we hold him out, right? We need our starting left tackle at this point. But it's a mess, right? It's an injury report. Nate Hobbs is the one that is really giving me kind of concern here. Now the good news is he's got the rest of tomorrow, and then I don't know how they do that as far as clearing him from the protocol if it's right up until a few hours before game time.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he clears and he's good to go. Otherwise, that's going to make things really interesting in the secondary. Get ready
That's a
for
great
a heavy dose of Carrington Valentine out there.
Yeah, that's a great point. So obviously, if Nate Hobbs doesn't go, then Carrington will step in for him at the right side wide cornerback position. Javon Buller will continue to play in the slot. So that's very, very interesting there. Now, the big news, Christian Watson, it's officially, he was limited all week long. He's officially out. So they went ahead and shut that down. We're going to let that ride over, and we'll
I'm
see if
clapping
he's
for
ready
the
for us.
trainers, not for Christian Watson not playing. I'm just happy
Exactly.
that they made this decision. He'll be ready for the what is it? Not Atlanta, Arizona
Arizona.
game.
Yeah.
And his
Yeah.
first game back at Lambeau will be against Carolina with the throwbacks, the leatherhead throwbacks on. Good for you, Scoot. Welcome back, man. It's coming. We just got to be patient.
I kind of feel like the way I'm leaning here, Tim, I think he'll be out this game, and I think he'll be out in Arizona.
Really?
And then he'll come back that
For the
following game.
Steelers game? Yeah.
Or yeah, that's on the road in Pittsburgh, right? I kind of
Yep.
feel like that's the route they'll go. I don't know though, man. We'll see. I guess it depends on how his body responds next week in practice, right? So
Exactly.
we'll keep an eye on it. But Christian Watson definitely out for Sunday's matchup against the Bengals. Savion Williams limited all week, does not have a game status, so he's good to go. I don't think there's any surprise there. And then Devontae Wyatt with the knee. We talked about this all week long. We were expecting him to be out. He did not participate all week long in practice. He is officially listed as out. So no Devontae Wyatt against the Bengals coming up on Sunday. So that is the Packers side of the injury report. Now jumping over to the Bengals side, Jamar Chase with that illness we talked about did not participate on Friday. So he was full participation on Thursday. He was on the injury report, right? Because he was limited Wednesday with veteran rest. And then he was full participation Thursday, and then he did not practice today because of the illness. So it sounds like, if I'm reading this correctly, the illness snuck up on him late Thursday, early Friday. So
Yep.
this may carry into the weekend, man. Who knows?
We'll see. I think they're going to have to, chain him to the locker room or something to get him not to be on that field. He's a stud, and I think if he's got any fight in him at all, he's going to want to be on the field. But you're right. Looking at limited to full and then to did not participate is not the direction you want to go, regardless of what you're dealing with. So we'll see. That's going to really help us out if, in fact, we don't have Nate Hobbs on the field. So and they don't have Jamar Chase. That'll kind of balance things out there.
Yeah. Dylan Fairchild, questionable. We talked about that. There's a list of guys here that are full participation today, so they're all good to go. No reason to mention them. Looks like Matt Lee, their center with the knee, was not listed Wednesday, Thursday, and then did not participate Friday. So he did something to his knee, and he's now officially questionable. I believe Matt Lee is the starting center there, too. I could be wrong. Lucas Patrick with the calf was limited, then full the rest of the week. He's officially listed as questionable. So they could potentially be missing 3 offensive linemen by game time. I'd be surprised if all 3 of them don't play. I think you'll probably get 2 of those 3 playing. Drew Sample, he was good to go. And then Shamar Stewart, like we mentioned, was listed officially as doubtful. So there is your full injury report. Anything else you want to know?
Patrick has a little bit of center experience as well, right?
He does. That's right.
So if they're going to lose their starting center, I would think Lucas Patrick is going to want to play, especially coming back to Lambeau. I think he's probably in Mr. Taylor's ear over there, telling him he wants to play, and it's been a while. So he would be one of those 3 I would think would go.
Yeah. So there you go. There is your Packers Bengals injury report for Sunday's matchup there at